Okay, may I have your full name, please?
My name's Daniel Na. My Korean name is Na Jung-woo.
Okay, nice to meet you, Daniel.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, let's start off talking about the internet. What would you do without the internet?
Wow. I definitely wouldn't go back to reading books or looking for stuff on encyclopedia, but I honestly don't know what I would do without internet now because it's so immersed in my life. Everything from looking for any information or even going to find information about restaurants, I would go on the internet. So I honestly can't live without internet now. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense to say that. Do you think you spend too much time online?
Yes, I do. So I try to limit myself by reading books because I feel like it's not good for my mental health in some ways, and I constantly need some kind of what do you call it? Distraction, just to keep my mind busy. So I try to stay away from internet as much as possible if I can. Yeah.
Okay. How do you think the internet influences people?
Well, I had one instance recently. We're talking about politics, and I had one friend who has no knowledge of any politics and no mind of his own. He just looks at internet and then just reads off of it, and then making that his idea, and he never even fact checked it to see if that was real or not. Yeah.
Okay. How often do you go online?
Me, the moment I wake up, yeah, to when I go to sleep, yeah.
When did you start using the internet?
Internet, I started using maybe when I was 12, 13, yeah.
Okay. Going to something completely opposite from the internet. Have you ever gone fishing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I actually want to get into fishing right now because I used to go fishing when I used to travel, backpacking Southeast Asia, and then I found it to be fun and enjoyable, even though when you're not catching anything, there's a calmness behind it.
Okay. And so I guess you would like fishing in that case.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is fishing popular in your country?
Fishing, amongst, I think, like older guys is popular. I don't know anyone that goes deep dive fishing in Korea, but they do. They have like an indoor fishing area where they just put fish in like a artificial pond, and then they spend time there just like chit-chatting with people next to them, and then yeah. But apart from that, I don't know any young people that does fishing. I know a lot of 40, 50, 60-year-old that likes to go fishing.
Okay. Let's say you catch it. Do you like eating fish?
I love fish.
Okay.
Yeah, I love fish. I know so many fish anatomy, so I know how to pick the bones really, like professionally.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that you used to go as a child when you went fishing. What did you like to do when you were a child? Like, what did you like to play? What kind of activities were you into?
I was really outdoorsy. I used to spend a lot of time near the beach, and then we used to do a lot of cycling. Yeah, we used to ride bicycles a lot, and skateboarding, and those all this California stuff.
I see. Where in particular did you guys like to go in California?
Where? Well, where we grew up is we just made everywhere our playground. We would go to the train tracks. We would go to the beach. We would go to school. We used to ride our bicycles everywhere. So we just made everywhere our playground. Wow.
Okay, that's awesome. Last question before we wrap up part one. What are your best childhood memories?
Best childhood memories? I would say in middle school or elementary, middle school, when I was spending time in the States, when I just got there, I just met so many people from different walks of life, and then it wasn't so study oriented like in Korea. So I had a lot of freedom and time to grow up as a person during those times.
Okay, excellent. Let's move on to part 2. So the question that you're getting is describe an area or subject of science that you are interested in and would like to learn more about.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to give you a minute to prepare and make notes, and then after that, you get your turn to talk.
Okay.
So yeah, we can start when you're ready. Okay, that's 1 minute.
Okay.
So when you're ready, we can start.
Okay. So you're asking me what field in science I'm interested in, right? These days. So I've been looking into artificial intelligence a lot, stuff like ChatGPT. So I recently started graduate school, and then so I didn't really study for a long time, but then I recently went back to school. So I started, reading more, doing more research, and then I saw my peer. We had so much stuff to read and so much stuff to research. And then I was asking my peers. I said, "What are you guys using?" And they all seem to use ChatGPT. So so I asked around to see what kind of AI apps they're using, and then most people they use paid version of ChatGPT. Why? And then when I started using it, I found it really interesting because it saves so much time, and you can ask any questions. But then on contrast, I found a lot of information to be not facts sometimes. So you got to make sure that you got to double check to see if those information given by ChatGPTs are actual facts or not. Yeah. So another thing I use ChatGPT. I use another app called Gamma. That one actually makes PowerPoint slides for you. So if you let's say you do a 30-page essay, and then you upload it to that app, and then ask them to make it into a 40-page slide, it would generate AI images or find pictures from online, and then use that, and then use my essay as a bullet point and generate 40 pages of PowerPoints for you, which saves a lot of time. But then after that, you kind of have to refine it yourself, because again, it's not perfect. So you got to double check to see if the work is correct or not.
Okay, cool. I think that's good enough for part 2. Let's move on to the next stage. When we're talking about science and such, should scientists explain their research to the public?
Should the scientists? Well, okay. One, they shouldn't lie. They shouldn't lie about what they're writing. I mean, they're researching about and the results. There's been a lot of scandals in Korea. So in the past, where they lied about a certain research and the outcome, and then they got government funds from the government to get funded for their projects. And then I think for like a groundbreaking ones, I think scientists should, disclose it with the public, just to, because people are interested. Let's say if there's a cure for cancer, and people would love to hear about that. Yeah, but if there's like a science about like a new fabric for carpet, I don't think people would be interested in that. So depending on the situation, I think if people would be interested, they would want to hear about it. Yeah.
Oh, makes sense. How do you get to know about scientific news?
Just Google, YouTube, and then if I'm interested in some subject, I'll research it myself. Apart from that, I just read what pops up on the internet mostly, right? Or CNN or Bloomberg, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Should people continue to study science after graduating from school?
Yes, because well, unless you want to be stuck in one place for all your life, you kind of have to get to know the trend, not just like fashion or food, but science and technology as well, because you don't want to be left behind when everybody knows more information, and the information is money.
Absolutely. What science subject do you think is most important for children to learn, like of the STEM subjects?
Right now, STEM subject. Give me a sec.
It's not an easy one.
Yeah. Well, okay. Children in elementary school, they should learn about basic like biology, right? Because they need to know how life works, But then when they get to middle school, they can learn, more about chemical stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's important to study science at school?
Yes, of course. Where else are they going to learn it if they don't learn it from school? Yeah, I think it's very important for them to learn it when they're forced to.
Yeah. I see. Why do some children, now that you mentioned being forced to, why do some children not like learning science at school?
Well, they're different. They're born. Everyone's born differently. Some people like art, some people like math, some people like science. I see some children find science boring, but they find art fascinating. I myself was into science, but I was not into art at all.
Okay, I see. Just adding a few extra questions here. What do you think has been the most important innovation scientifically in recent years, like invention-wise?
Invention-wise, science-wise. Okay, well, I talked about AI earlier, so I think that's been a big hit in our daily lives. And also, I know someone recently is coming out with new cancer drugs, so I think that's huge, and it's going to be in the market soon.
Okay. Just to wrap up quickly, you said that you were more inclined towards science?
When I was younger, yeah.
Yeah. Which field of science were you most interested in?
I was pretty much into all science. Oh, okay. Yeah. So bio, chem. Yeah, I was really into those. It was interesting to me. I just wanted to know how things work, why things are this way. And it's not everything you can. There's more than what you can see, and when you really look deep into it. So I was really interested in those things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough. Okay, now it gets to the feedback. Yeah, my notes here, you're pretty much native. You speak in a very natural way, speak like a native speaker. You use very good vocabulary as well. So I think you cover all the aspects that they are looking at, like fluency, vocabulary, grammar. You've got all that covered. So
I hope so, yeah.
It would be helpful, yeah. So yeah, if you had to do the test, you would probably score 8.8, 8.5, something like that. So that's, I mean, one would expect native speakers to get like something between 8.5 to 9. So I'd say you're pretty much there.
Yeah. Usually I get somewhere around there when I take English tests, like so somewhere like 90, 95%, something like that.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, depending on the day, 8 to 8.5. I think for today, 8.5. I think there's maybe one thing that I could have picked up where there was a mistake that they would point out in the test.
I see.
I think, what was that? It's on contrast, not in contrast.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that I could pick up. So I think that explains why you got a very high score in this case.
Okay.
So yeah, if you get that kind of high score, there's not a lot of feedback I can give you otherwise, because you essentially ticked all the boxes. So yeah, congratulations, I guess.
Thank you, I guess. Okay.